Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 607 Wednesday, August 10th, 77 degrees, going up to 85 today. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio. Streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com. 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. Normally, I would try to fit all of our guests into one breath, but that's never going to happen today. So let's see who we got here. So we have Dr. Jorge Pardes. So he is the director of breast imaging at Community Medical Center. We have Dr. Sumy Chang. She is a breast cancer surgeon at Community Medical Center. And we have Tina Pilot. It's just Tina Pilot, but so much more. So before we get kind of rolling through the story and kind of how these folks all ended up together, let me start with you, Dr. Pardes. So why don't you give everybody a little bit of background? What is what you do all about?
Okay, thank you for having us in
Absolutely.
the first place. I do what's called breast imaging, and normally people think about mammography. Breast imaging encompasses all the different modalities that come into play for diagnosis, mammography, ultrasound, MRI, nuclear medicine, as well as needle biopsies, which are called minimally invasive. So that's the overall specialty.
Okay, cool. And Dr. Chang?
So I am a breast cancer surgeon. I underwent general surgery training, but in addition, I did a specialty focus by going to a fellowship that focuses on breast cancer and breast disease. So my focus and my practice is dedicated to breast cancer and some benign breast disease as well.
Okay, cool. Okay, and so Tina Pilot.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm awake.
So Tina, how do you fit into this? I mean, if I were to say which one of these is not like the others, I mean, it's that. And you and me are both in the same boat, by the way, on this one. So go ahead, Tina. Why don't you tell us why you're here?
Well, I'll tell you that I started this journey that I call it now. That I was passing a billboard every day. I was heading to Planet Fitness, and I was getting on a roll of jogging and bicycling and starting to lose weight and get back into the best shape that I could. And I kept passing a billboard that said NJ Seed. If you don't have insurance, call this NJ Seed number for a free mammography and go through something through the county. And it just kept calling out to me every day. So finally I said, I'm 49 years old. Let me run and get this done. I made the call. I went to the county. And I got a phone call at work that said you have to come back in. So, of course, you panic.
Right.
And you have a stroke and you have to wait a week. And then you go back and then you wait a week. And then if you go back for another issue, which I went back for an ultrasound and met Dr. Pardes. And the minute he walked in, I knew that I was in trouble. You could tell by the demeanor. He's so soft-spoken and
Right.
grabbed my hand and said, we're going to take care of you. So I went for my needle biopsy on October 21st. And then on the 26th, I got a phone call at work that I had cancer. And I had to figure it out. So I'd called Dr. Pardes, said I was a nervous wreck, and I had to meet with a breast surgeon. Then I wound up with Dr. Sumy Chang. And I had no idea I was meeting with Dr. Sumy Chang because I really went to the Riverwood campus there to speak to a financial advisor because I didn't have insurance. I was scared to death.
Right.
Oh, my God, there goes everything. So then the woman, Ann McGarry, had called down, and she said, I can get you in right now. So I went and met with Dr. Chang, who made me feel extremely comfortable that I was in the right hands. And I don't know if you remember this, but I said to you, if you're not going to treat me like family or like a sister, I'm out of here. And you grabbed my hand and said, I'll be treating you like a sister. Will help you through it. And then to appease my family and friends, I went up to NYU Langone and met with a renowned surgeon, and we met with her for an hour, and she went through all my films. And my parents paid that $455 1-hour visit.
Right.
And she said, I know Dr. Pardes extremely well. He's renowned. You're in the right place. You don't need to be here. It's silly for you to come to New York every day for treatment. Go back where you came from. And that's how it started.
Okay. So just to review, I mean, you went up to New York and kind of at the prodding of friends and family that said, get a second opinion. And if you're going to get a second opinion, go to NYU. I mean, that's the right thing to do. right? And after that, you still felt more comfortable to come back home and go to community medical center to kind of start your journey.
100%. I knew I was in the right hands. When you meet people, you just kind of get that feeling.
Right.
So I went back to see Dr. Pardes again and scheduled my, I went to see Dr. Chang and we scheduled my surgery. And I had no idea that I would see Dr. Pardes that morning for needle localization. I had no idea what that was. I stopped looking on the internet and
Right.
I know why.
Right.
I wasn't ready for that. But I had my surgery December 21st, and everyone thought I was crazy having surgery a few days before Christmas. However, when you're in the business I am, that's the time that you could take off between
Sure.
Christmas and New Year's to recuperate. And my surgery went very well. You know, it was early in the morning. There were quite a few people before me. I went through the needle localization, and then I had some other shot to put the blue dye in to go into your lymph nodes. And then I saw Dr. Chang, and then I woke up, and Dr. Chang said, "What do your parents look like?" I said, "They're old. Just call their last name. They'll come running to you. They're waiting," right?
Yes. Tina said to me, "My dad, I look just like my dad." And
Except he's bald.
except, yes, he's
Right.
bald.
At the time, I had hair.
Right. Gotcha.
And I went out to the waiting room, and you see this this man who's really shaken, and you can tell that, you know, his little girl is in the operating room. So
Right.
that's the first thing I noticed. And then I really looked at him through Tina's eyes, and I realized, yes, she looks like him, and he looks like her. And but that's exactly how she described him. But you know, I want to thank Tina for sharing such a personal story with us and with your listeners, because breast cancer is such a personal thing, and sometimes some of the women do not share it with their family members.
Right.
And family history is very important. So it's important for sisters and aunts and cousins to know who has family history of breast cancer, ovarian cancer, and such before when they speak to their doctors, in order for us to assess their risk of breast cancer.
Right.
So the average risk of breast cancer in a woman in the United States is lifetime risk is 1 out of 8. So that's 12%.
Right.
So, but having a family history raises that risk. And as Tina mentioned her age, and that's very brave of you to mention your age.
Well, she looks like she's 35, so you can
Of
say, what's
course.
the difference? I mean, come on.
Exactly.
Well, thank you.
No problem, Tina.
And age is just a number.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Especially women who are diagnosed under age 50, or having family members who are diagnosed under age 50 is significant risk. So it's important to share that information with family members. And Dr. Pardes he didn't emphasize, but he is a breast imager, and that means that's what he does all day, and it makes a big difference.
Right.
A lot of people ask me in my specialty, where should I go for my imaging? Do they have this technology? Do they have that technology? And I usually tell them that technology is half of the picture, and the person who's interpreting that result is
Right.
the images is another key component as well.
Absolutely. So let's stop there for a second, because I think what we've heard in our first few minutes together is kind of the personal end of it, right? Which is so super important, to your point, Dr. Chang, that it's always important when you're going through a journey like this, that you feel like the people who are taking care of you actually care, right? And that you kind of have that connection, and that you feel like you're in good hands, which is ironic because Tina's a realtor. And so it's kind of some of the same relationships, because, as we know, buying or selling a house is the biggest purchase for 99.9% of the free world. So
Slightly emotional.
It is an emotional deal. But when we come back, though, Dr. Pardes and Dr. Chang, I want to talk just to that point of local community medical center versus any other hospital in the world, and what we have, what we don't have, what we can do, what we can't do, the advantages of Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas as a system, et cetera, et cetera. So Tina Pilot, Dr. Jorge Pardes, and Dr. Sumy Chang back with you right after this.
The Sean Hannity Show, this afternoon at 3. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin returns next. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. So we're talking with Dr. Chang, Dr. Pardes, and Tina Pilot. We're talking about cancer treatment and especially a community medical center here in Ocean County and Toms River. So, Dr. Pardes, why don't you talk to me for a second? So you were at Monmouth Medical previously. So why don't you tell us, like, from a technical standpoint, from an equipment standpoint, from an ability to diagnose and treat standpoint, where do we rank? How do we do? What do we have access to? Kind of how should people feel about what they have offered to them at CMC?
Well, pretty much we have the whole gamut of equipment that is necessary to screen and diagnose for breast cancer. That includes mammography, ultrasound, MRI, nuclear medicine. The most prevalent are mammography and ultrasound. The digital mammography is the standard of care. There's a new form that's called 3D or tomosynthesis, which is an extension of that. We'll be getting that eventually at the hospital. We do have it in a Barnabas R.W. Johnson facility nearby, so it is available. In terms of ultrasound, we have the best equipment there is, and that's what Tina alluded to, and that helps. Between mammography and ultrasound, you can make most of the diagnoses that are required.
Okay.
And in terms of MRI, we just got new addition, modification of the equipment, which will raise the level of what we do with breast MRI and hopefully help us set up a screening program with breast MRI, which there's none in the area of what we're talking about, making it available to as many women as possible who are qualified for that.
Right. I don't think people realize how often technology is updated in a hospital, how much new equipment comes in, the cost of that new equipment. For example, yesterday, actually, at Community Medical Center, there was just the unveiling of a new Da Vinci 11 robot, which is an expensive piece of technology. It doesn't necessarily deal with what you guys deal with, but is important to a number of other diagnoses and procedures. And this is like a constant kind of state of update and constant state of modification, which is why it's so important that you're a part of a major system and have the kind of financial wherewithal to do what needs to happen. How about you, Dr. Chang? Is there anything you can't do at Community Medical Center?
No. Community Medical Center, when I first got here, it has all the different components. And one of the key things that was important is a breast imager. And as I had said before, the technology is part of it, but also the radiologist who is looking at the images and interpreting it is another component. And since Dr. Pardes has come to community, it has made it tremendous for patients. It has been a tremendous effect on the patients because of the fact that they no longer have to travel and they can get their imaging done here. But also the other part is Dr. Pardes has a team of staff.
Right.
So ultrasound is a great tool. We use it on pregnant women to look at
Sure.
babies and also for breast. And the thing about ultrasound is it is very dependent on the person who is performing
Right.
it. So that's the technician. And he has with him a team of ultrasound technicians that do only breast.
Right.
So they are excellent. And sometimes I see ultrasound images from outside facilities where the pictures are not so great, and so it's difficult to interpret the
Right.
pictures that are already taken if it's blurry or if it's not.
But he
clear.
has the team to make
He
that
has a
happen.
team, exactly.
So when we come back, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about an accreditation that Community Medical Center just received, and I know Tina's got some upcoming events and some ways that we can all kind of support the cause. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, Tina Pilot, Dr. Jorge Pardes, and Dr. Sumy Chang back after this.
Coming up next, the latest from WOBM News, the Town Square, New Jersey News Network, and Fox News Radio. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Live from the Bob Levy Broadcast Center, overlooking the Toms River, it's time to get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Be a part of the show, 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Hey, welcome back. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin, 6:34, Wednesday, August 10th, 77 degrees. Got up to 85 today with thunderstorms. WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. News Talk Radio, streaming live on the Radio Pup app and WOBMAM.com, 732-505-1160 to join the conversation. We are joined in studio by Tina Pilot, Dr. Jorge Pardes, and Dr. Sumy Chang. We are talking about cancer, breast cancer specifically, the process around it, the recovery process, etc. So, Dr. Chang, we were talking a little bit about an accreditation that that Community Medical Center just received. Why don't you tell us a little about that?
So we recently got accreditation from a NABPC, which stands for National Accreditation Program for Breast Centers, and it is looking at 28 standards and that is making sure that it's a comprehensive breast cancer center. What does that mean? It means we have breast imager, radiologist who's looking at diagnosing the breast cancer, and the treatment team, which includes surgeon like myself, breast cancer surgeon. We also have radiation oncologists, medical oncologists. Those are the physician aspect of it, pathologists, but also the support system that we need, and we have a breast navigator at Community Medical Center who guides patients through the different appointments and different treatment plan. We also have a genetic counselor for patients who have what I mentioned earlier, a family history of breast cancer, but also ovarian cancer, where they may have a hereditary component to breast cancer, and they may need to have genetic testing, which is made famous by Angelina Jolie with the BRCA testing.
Right.
So a lot of patients are aware of that. And we also have a multidisciplinary tumor board, which meets on a regular basis to discuss patients' cases and in terms of reviewing their imaging, but also their treatment plan. So we basically try to individualize the patient's treatment plan so that it is appropriate for their age, but also for their medical conditions.
Right.
So it's not overtreating or undertreating the patient for their particular cancer. And breast cancer has evolved so much where now there's a lot of individualizing of their treatment plan. And in terms of this requirement, Community Medical Center is the only hospital that is accredited in Ocean and Atlantic counties. So, and we actually have no deficiency, and the accreditor, the reviewer, was very impressed with what we offer. And I think a lot of the patients in this area they're not aware
Right.
of the breast cancer care that we provide here.
So to that point, just let's take it, because I feel like we haven't mentioned it, and I feel like we would be remiss and if we did not. So, and I'll throw it up there real easily for you, Dr. Pardes. So, what's the number one most important way to treat breast cancer, or to stop breast cancer from becoming life-threatening or in any way? What's the best thing you could do?
Well, the best thing for a woman is she should start her screening mammograms at age 40, do them on a regular basis
Right.
yearly. She should have a breast exam by a qualified physician yearly. And that is usually the cancers that are picked up by imaging. Usually mammography is the first one that is most available, most common to use. If a cancer is picked up by imaging before it becomes clinically evident, for example, before a woman feels a lump or bloody nipple discharge, etc., those cancers tend to be caught earlier and do better. One thing I did want to mention is regarding the role of the breast surgeon, the breast specialist. There has to be someone who coordinates all the different disciplines that have to do with cancer. So coordinates all the people that are consultants, coordinates all the different opinions, and then comes up with one decision as to what to do, and that is the role of the breast surgeon. People may think, well, the surgeon goes in, takes the tumor out, and it's all done. That's a very small part of what she will do. She will actually start with making all the right diagnosis, defining what has to be done, then bouncing it off multiple other specialists, which is what Dr. Chang alluded to in the tumor board. And then she makes the final decision, presents that to the patient, and coordinates all the treatment.
Right.
So it's not just going in, taking the tumor out, and be done
Well,
with
that's a
it.
lot of responsibility, huh?
Long
And
term.
that also means that your insurance premiums are higher.
I try not to think about it.
Yeah, I was pretty sure. And by the way, I just want to say that's the first time that bloody nipple discharge has ever been said on the radio here. So I want to thank you, Dr. Pardes, for that.
You're welcome.
So while we're talking about mammograms and early detection, I know that Tina, you said that you actually went and got a mammogram. Frankly, was that the first one you got?
No, I had my first one at 40 and waited to 49 for the second one.
So that wasn't. So that would be a learning that you would probably.
I never said it was bright.
No, well, listen. So why don't you tell everybody, because we have 1 minute left in this segment, but we're going to hang for another segment after this. So why don't you tell us real quick, because you have another personal story relative to your sister. So why don't you talk about that real fast?
Quickly, my sister had a mammogram, and she gets one every year. And Dr. Adam Repole, called her and said there's some calcifications, and you really need to get an ultrasound. So I emailed Dr. Pardes, gave him my sister's name. She called and made an appointment. She felt very comfortable going through my doctors because she knows how passionate I am about the people that I was handed over to, which amazing. So Dr. Pardes said, I think he had went in to meet with her while I was in radiation. I missed the whole conversation, and she knew she had cancer. Same thing. When he comes and he grabs your hand and he gives you that look and he says, we need further studies, you're in trouble.
Right.
Or you better get on it. So the good news is she's stage 0. It's DCIS, which is ductal carcinoma in situ, and it hasn't spread out. Mine was invasive, and I had 2. So she's in good hands, and we're going to walk her through the journey.
Right, and the good news is she had it diagnosed early.
Very early, which means get your boobies squished. It's no big deal.
And the other thing I've learned so far is don't shake hands with Dr. Pardes, because nothing good ever happens from that. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the upcoming events and some of the ways that people could pitch in and help. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin back after this. Hey, welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin. Okay, so Tina Pilot, why don't you go through some of the upcoming events, things that people should be on the lookout if they want to pitch in and help the cause.
Okay, so let's see. Pause for Cancer is Saturday, November 12th, which goes towards the Inspiration Boutique at the Community Medical Center, and that is 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, November 12th at the Toms River Elks. If you have any questions, you can Facebook message me, send me a note. Everybody has access to my Facebook. Also, the Women's Council of Realtors, the Ocean County chapter, is doing their 6th annual Bras for a Cause, which is Friday, October 7th, and that's from 6 to 9 at yesterday's, the Old Cowboy down in Bayville. And that, again, is 6 to 9. It's $40 in advance, $45 at the door, and they have a lot of prizes, and that's when men come out in bras and do their dance, and you bid on it and you purchase the bra. So
You understand, by the way, the only reason I am hosting that event is so I don't have to wear a bra. That was the only way out of that. So go ahead.
I heard there was no way to convince you.
No,
so
that's
we're
not
just going to have to go after the cops then and
right.
the UPS drivers. So NJ Seed in Ocean County, there is a program that if you do not have insurance, you could make the call and get a free cancer screening. The number is 800-328-3838. And that's through Ocean County. You get all kinds of, you do the breast cancer, the colorectal, and you can also do your pap smear, which no one likes to talk about. There's free screening mammograms through the Barnabas Health Center, through the Monmouth Medical Center, Jacqueline Mullins Breast Center in Long Branch, Colts Neck, Howell, and now in Toms River. So I have coupons for free screening. I just want to thank Dr. Pardes, Dr. Chang, Dr. Seth Cohen, my oncologist, and Dr. David D'Ambrosia. I'm at the tail end of my radiation. I have a few days left, and Monday I'll be ringing that bell.
Very nice.
I can't say enough and spread the awareness as much as possible because I didn't have a lump. I would have never found this if it wasn't for a mammogram. So it's important for people to get out there and get it done.
Absolutely. And I think that's really the moral of the story here is that early detection is the best defense, right? And I think what we've also learned today is that it takes really a team effort to make sure that we get folks back to where they belong 100% and recovered and beating this horrible disease, cancer, which is unbelievable. And so I want to thank Dr. Jorge Pardes, Dr. Sumy Chang, Tina Pilot. I know that we say it a lot I don't know what your mouth is.
I forgot something.
Go ahead.
So Sunday, October 16th.
I was trying to have a touching moment, Tina. Way to blow up my spot again.
Sunday, October 16th in Point Pleasant Beach is the annual Making Strides Walk on the Point Pleasant Boardwalk, and that starts at 10 a.m. Registration is 8 to 10. I just don't want anyone to miss these things.
No, I understand, Tina.
And
Thank
people
you.
like to get out and walk, as you know, same as the Avon 39 walk in October. I just won't do that. I'll go on bicycle, but not walk.
And so if you want to hear more of the Tina Pilot Show, it's available Monday through Friday from 6:50 to 6:52. No, seriously, thank you so much. And I think we have a great team at Community Medical Center. And thank you so much, Tina Pilot, for sharing your story and for spending some time with us
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
Thank you so much,
having
guys.
us.
More Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin back after this.